Hello, Geminis. Welcome to your November monthly tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. We're going to read your tarot cards. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something or better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate for you, that's totally fine. Feel free to push them aside. You may want to revisit them at a later date or time. Sometimes tarot messages make more sense in the future. You are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. This is, of course, optional advice, guidance, and energy check-in. That being said, let's set the intention to have some fun, get you some clear, helpful, insightful messages. One last thing, I highly recommend that you watch your rising sign. So anyone is welcome into this reading. If you're a Gemini, it makes sense that you showed up here. That means your sun is in Gemini, right? Check out what your moon sign is. See what your rising sign is. I'm going to be throwing at you bits of astrology, and that's going to relate more to my Gemini risings. But again, do as you like with these readings. You're welcome to watch any of them. So here we go. So bottom of your deck is the Queen of Cups. Doesn't totally surprise me. We're going to have a full moon in your sign, in your first house, which has a lot to do with your identity and who you are. And whenever the moon is full for anyone, it brings out more emotions. The Queen of Cups is like the queen of emotions. It's Cancerian energy. So it's emotional, it's fluid, it's intuitive, it's inner, it's personal. It's sort of like divine feminine energy. And it's almost like she's really gazing at that moon, really trying to gain greater perspective on some sort of emotional circumstance or situation that arises. Possibly seeing yourself in a new light and feeling like you're gaining progress in terms of, I'm going to say, your spiritual journey. I don't know how you guys feel about that. And not so much in opposition to, but which might be challenged, who you are and who you want to become, how you're developing in this world currently on your path, may reach sort of a point of aggravation or irritation in your public standing and how people view you, what they want you to be, what they expect of you out in the world, especially in like your career. You may be feeling very different and at odds with sort of that area in life, or possibly with a parental figure. It could be that you've started some new journey, spiritual growth, especially with Wheel of Fortune in the 12th, going down some kind of spiritual rabbit hole, even if you wouldn't call it spiritual, the idea of like a deep dive into yourself and, you know, understanding yourself better and getting a better idea of where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. What adventures do you want to have? What do you want to explore? Like fun stuff, Wheel of Fortune. You may be in a very different place than you used to be, and there might be a family member, a father, a mother figure who maybe doesn't necessarily agree with you, or they aren't on board with this new idea. It seems like you may, I don't know, I do sort of see the swords as wanting to take a trip of some kind, and you do have the Knight of Wands in your 9th house of long distance travel. Money may be a factor that holds you back from that, but I do actually think you're going to find a way to make it happen. So we'll come back to that. But yeah, the full moon is, it's going to have a little bit of Neptune energy in it. So not necessarily the most clarity, you know, any full moon, it is culminations, I don't know if I'd say conclusions, but being able to see things in a brighter light, right? That's what the full moon is, especially something that has to do with something very personal to you, something very close to you, feeling like you're making strides forward. You know, you're moving from rocky waters to smooth sailing. But with that, there are going to be outer forces that challenge you, particularly, again, in the form of a boss, or possibly your career in general as an entity or as an energy, and maybe a parental figure. It's not all bad news, Gemini, I promise. We're going to have some sweet stuff here for you, too. So you are going to, before the full moon, you are going to have a new moon in Scorpio. So this could be a time where you start a new exercise routine, a new health regimen. You may be more focused on your body and health in general. Some of you may be getting a new pet, and some of you may be starting a new job. Or if you are at a job and plan to stay there, it could be that there's new responsibilities or new things that are on the horizon. And so your daily work routine may change up. in a very different and unique way, with kind of Uranus coming into the picture. Definitely a major change up in terms of what you do on the day-to-day, what your day-to-day looks like. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just something in that sector of your life is going to change. But with that, there may be new money coming to you. There may be far more independence with Mars working its way through that area. Yeah, you could be given more leadership, more responsibilities, more creative control, however you want to say it. But Nine of Pentacles is a great card, and money looks good, and feeling confident about yourself, feeling like you're appreciated, feeling valued, and knowing your self-worth. Yeah, for some of you may get a new pet, maybe some of you a bird or something like that. I don't know what that is. So then let's talk about the trickier aspect, which is going to be Mars, which loves to separate. It loves independence. It loves to be fiery and passionate and go full steam ahead. But it can be very heated, right? It can be tempered, or hot-tempered, I should say. That planet is going up in a challenging aspect to Uranus, which is all about reform and change and revolution, shaking things up, waking people up. It wants to be different. It wants to be unique, but ultimately it wants to be innovative. It wants to create something new. So in an opposition, this could result in some sort of challenge or confrontation with a coworker. Could also be within your circle of friends, but likely a coworker that maybe you consider a friend. It could also mean just disruptions in the flow and the energy and the forward momentum and movement. Watch for, technology snafus. That's very related to Uranus. It could be that one day, the whole system just gets fried and, everybody's without their laptop, and it's just going to be like a weird sort of adjustment period. But with that the Uranian quality of that is, okay, well, we're all gonna get updated computers now because it's been a long time coming, and like more or less it can be an ending, but it's to bring in the new. It's so it could be beneficial, but it is going to bring some pressure with Mars and a little bit of stress and chaos with both those planets coming into the play here. Also, if you are assigned to travel for work, or if you do travel a fairly good distance for work, frustrations in travel, it could be that, you're having issues with your car. It could be that they're doing road construction, or, something unexpected with Uranus. It's hard to even predict Uranus energy. But yeah, something affecting either your work life, or it could even be if you are starting some sort of new exercise routine or again, dietary program or something to do with your body, that there's sort of an unexpected obstacle that comes along where, maybe you're jogging every day and you're loving it, and then you sprain an ankle, right? It's not about fear, guys. That's not what I'm aiming to do, but I'm just saying, like, there is kind of that. We gotta slow it down a little bit. We gotta, pay close attention and have a plan B, have a backup plan, have a support system, someone we can call if we are in crisis, it could be something like that. So anyway, do with that what you will. There is going to be a lovely, lovely transit for you Geminis, which is going to be Venus moving into Libra. Venus is in the sign of Libra, which it loves to be in. That's her native sign. And for you guys, it is going to inspire much more creative flow, creative energy, creative juices, doing crafty and creative projects that you love. It's also going to be finding more pleasure and seeing the value in doing things just for fun, being silly, games, sports, hobbies, things of that nature, and also excellent for dating. Wherever Venus is in our chart, there's a need to want to connect and chat and talk and make those connections with people to network. So in your house of dating, for those who are single and looking, or on the outs of a relationship and thinking about starting new in a dating chapter, make the most of this transit, because it's going to be, I think, wonderful for you. And with the Two of Wands here, I do sense that some of you are sort of at this turning point in a relationship where it's like, do I want to move forward or do I not? Two of Wands and also Three of Wands in like long-term relationships. It's like waiting for a sign or waiting for a message that like my ships are coming in, confirmation that this is my person and that we are headed in the right direction. That's for some of you, right? And especially with kind of like the single independent energy, are you needing to ask for more space in a relationship? If you are currently in one, when Mars and Mercury move into Sagittarius very soon in the coming weeks, there is going to be sort of this natural ability and instinct to just speak your truth and speak very bluntly, asking for what you need, telling it how it is. That may ruffle some feathers in a relationship, but ultimately it is a good thing because you're going to be able to express what's maybe been a little bit like, hesitant and I don't want to hurt their feelings, or Scorpio, Mercury and Scorpio are private thoughts, things that we're not saying out loud, things that we're storing, things we're not sharing, secrets we're keeping, right? So with that, as more planets move through Sagittarius and Venus through Libra, that could be a very good time for having your partner step up to meet your needs and vice versa. Making some necessary changes, putting more energy and effort with Mars into relationships. But yeah, I mean, this looks like it could be very good, but I do think there's some decisions that have to be made. Do I have time to invest in dating? Do I have time to bring this into more exclusivity? Do we want to move in together? It's kind of like those, with the World and Two of Wands, you hold the world in your hand. It's full of potential, but what are you going to do with it, right? For some of you may be at the point where you're wanting to move in with your partner. Some of you may actually be engaging in a long distance relationship, and that may reach some sort of culmination or point where it's like, we see each other, we like each other, but like it's not enough. So are we going to make some sort of adjustment to bring this sort of relationship into a greater union, a stronger union? So I'm loving that Venus transit. It's going to be good. Some of you may end up giving up a creative hobby, and that's not a bad thing. It's almost like by diving deeper into it and reviving it or trying something new, there might be a need to release something that just no longer serves you, that's maybe getting in the way of your long-term goals and plans, especially if you're spending money on something that is frivolous and not really bringing you joy and entertainment the way it used to. You may end up selling some old stuff. Some of you may end up selling stuff on like Etsy, especially if you're like a creative artist type. I could totally see that. And also, I neglected to say, for those who have children, Venus moving through your fifth house is a tremendous time to hang out with your children and again, really enjoy that relationship and see the value that you offer as a parent and that, your kids offer as your children. Venus wants to connect. It wants to relate to people. It wants to embrace. It wants to be warm. It's lovely. It's lovely. All right, let's see. What else? Yeah, I see you wanting to move forward with certain things, projects, people, jobs, but money is sort of an obstacle at this point. I also see you having a challenging relationship with a very stubborn sibling this month. Something that maybe you were relying on your sibling too heavily, or hoping that they were going to join forces with you and tackle it together, or share the bill, split the cost. Maybe you're helping mom and dad out with something. I see them being very protective of their money this month, and so you may choose to just do it yourself, and that may put you in a more tricky position in terms of wanting to go after something, elsewhere. It might be that like money is, I see money going to the family right now, or helping. Sometimes I hear myself and I'm just like, you sound ridiculous as I'm trying to find my words. I see you putting money towards helping with a family issue, with mom, with dad. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? But it's almost like you're summoned or you're called to step up and help. It could involve helping to pay for travel plans for the family, putting up money for tickets. I don't know. That's not for everyone. It could also be moving locations. I definitely get a sense of moving homes. Full moon in Gemini in your house, there's something very important coming to light about the family or about the home. And maybe with the Six of Wands, it does have to do with moving spaces. Some of you may be moving overseas or a long distance to be with the person you love. And for some of you, it might actually be very... and I don't mean this in a negative way, very surprising or shocking to those you love, because it could be a relationship that isn't necessarily, hasn't necessarily been long-term. It could be something that you've only been dating for a few months, and all of a and I'm not putting a certain timeline on it because I don't know the specifics, but it could be surprising to those around you. You may even have a friend who's kind of like negative about it, like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Because I don't know, that seems kind of irresponsible. And maybe they're looking out for your best interest, but I also think it's inciting their own fear, of what could be. And obviously they love you, so they're protective of you, but that doesn't mean they always know what's right and what's best for you. With the full moon, it's going to give you a little bit more clarity on that. But again, with Neptune, I almost feel it, and Saturn too, I almost feel like you may make plans to have this big move or change locations or to allocate more time in a partnership, but unexpectedly, or it gets delayed, or something about the family is calling you back, or your responsibilities at work, or to a workplace, to a boss. Something about that may sort of muck up the plans a little bit. So I've been saying to all the signs, be adaptable, be flexible, expect the unexpected, but do have faith that like the higher purpose for all these, planets and transits, it is to align you to where you're supposed to be. So you have free will, you have choice, you have agency to make the decisions you want to make. But yeah, sometimes it's going to feel a little bit strained. It's going to feel a little bit tense. You're going to feel some pressure. And then other times there's going to be some really nice blessings in your life, right? Especially in this sector where you're just like, life feels good right now. Like I'm meeting people, I'm connecting with people, we're having good engagements, we're having good agreements. Maybe you're signing contracts, right? Seventh house partnership, business contract with Mercury and Mars moving through there. That could definitely be. Some of you may be signing on board for something with a friend, but I kind of have mixed feelings about that because I see a very idealistic idea with a friendship that maybe doesn't fit that, or that maybe doesn't have good follow through. And I don't know if it's you or with your friend or someone has doubts, or I literally heard stage fright. Interesting. So if you're doing something that's very out and about, again, Sagittarius, like the performer, an entertainer, something that's very like, up on the soapbox, given the speech, being the center of attention. It could be that if you're going in on a partnership, your friend or your partner may not be as comfortable in the limelight or delivering the speech or giving the presentations. And so again, it's like a lot of the responsibility ends up falling on you to pick up the slack. So there could be a little tension in a friendship. It's possible. Let's see. In terms of dating, maybe something with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But they're a little bit guarded. I don't know. I've seen it 1,000 times, right? These two cards next to each other. It's like, I love the King of Pentacles showing up. That alone is great, but they may still be working their way out of some sort of tricky situation with, I don't know, their family, or I definitely see you falling for people who live at a great distance from you, which again is not a bad thing, but it does pose challenges for hanging out together. So just keep that in mind. You may want to adjust your radius on the dating apps or whatever it is. Let's see. I feel like there's a Virgo who pretends they don't want to be with you, but they absolutely do. They're probably cross-watching on your readings right now. What's up, Virgo? How you doing? But you better know their rising sign, Virgo. That's all I got to say. But there, with the new moon and that card, there could be a new start with a Virgo, a fresh start. There could be a brand new Virgo coming in as well. Sagittarius. Yeah, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in terms of like casual dating looks good. I like that. You may choose to sort of close the chapter on something with a fire sign if it's not working out. But yeah, I think you would be the instigator of, hey, let's take a break, or hey, we need to talk. Yeah, moving houses, moving homes, that looks really good. That looks really beautiful. And it's been a long time coming with the Wheel of Fortune. With the Wheel of Fortune in your 12th house, the 12th house is like what's hidden from you. It can sometimes be your blind spots, but in some ways it's things that are coming into you that you're just not anticipating, especially with Uranus there. There could be an unexpected change in fortune. Good fortune too. Again, moon, house, land, property, family stuff. So it's not all bad. It's not all bad. In fact, you have a lot of good stuff coming in, Gemini. All right, that's what I got for you. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye, Gemini.